Today's video explores Joseph Conrad's novella Youth, with a focus not only on what the text is doing, but how we can teach it effectively. Youth is often paired with Heart of Darkness or Lord Jim, and it can easily be overshadowed by those works. Yet it is an ideal teaching text because it is short but conceptually rich, stylistically distinctive, accessible to students, and deeply concerned with narrative voice, memory, and experience. This session will cover 1. Context and structure. 2. A concise but analytical overview of the story. 3. Major themes and critical interpretations. 4. Practical classroom strategies. 5. Assessment and comparative angles. Context, Conrad, modernity, and the sea. Joseph Conrad published Youth in 1898, at the end of the Victorian period and on the cusp of literary modernism. Several contextual points are worth foregrounding for students. Conrad was not a native English speaker. He spent nearly 20 years as a merchant sailor. His fiction frequently explores subjective perception, not objective truth. Youth draws directly on Conrad's first voyage to the East, making it semi-autobiographical. But it is not a memoir. What Conrad is interested in is how experience is remembered, not simply what happened. This places youth firmly within early modernist concerns. Fragmented perspective, retrospective narration, the instability of meaning. Form and structure, the frame narrative. One of the most teachable aspects of Youth is its frame narrative. We have an unnamed outer narrator, a group of listeners, and Marlowe, who tells the central story. This creates 3 layers. 1. The events themselves. 2. Marlowe's memory of those events. 3. The act of storytelling in the present. This structure allows Conrad to separate experience from interpretation, emphasize retrospection, show how meaning is constructed over time. A key teaching move is to ask students, whose version of events are we receiving, and why does that matter? Story overview. Analytical summary. Marlowe recounts his first major voyage as a young sailor aboard the Judea, an aging ship bound for Bangkok with a cargo of coal. From the outset, the voyage is plagued by mechanical failures, accidents, delays, poor luck. Yet young Marlowe interprets these setbacks as proof of adventure. As the journey progresses, the ship is battered by storms, structural damage worsens, a coal fire begins to smolder invisibly. Coal fires are particularly symbolic, hidden, inevitable, impossible to fully control. Eventually, the ship is abandoned and left burning at sea. From a practical standpoint, the voyage is a failure. But from Marlowe's perspective, it is meaningful, exhilarating, defining. This paradox is central to the novella. Key theme 1. Youth and idealism. The most obvious theme, but also the most subtle, is youth itself. Conrad presents youth as energetic, idealistic, willing to suffer, blind to consequence. Importantly, the older Marlowe does not dismiss his younger self. Instead, he recognizes that youth's power lies in its illusion. Teaching angle. Ask students whether ignorance here is a flaw or a necessity. Explore whether Conrad is nostalgic, ironic, or both. This is a productive way to introduce ambivalence in authorial tone. Key theme 2. Memory and narrative. At its core, Youth is a meditation on memory. The story is not about what objectively happened. It is about how the past is shaped by the present self. Marlowe explicitly acknowledges that his younger enthusiasm was misguided, yet he still values it. This creates tension between truth and feeling, knowledge and meaning. Teaching suggestion. Compare Marlowe's narration to memoir or oral storytelling. Ask students how time alters judgment. Key theme 3. Experience versus knowledge. Conrad distinguishes between living through something and understanding it afterwards. Young Marlowe has no strategic insight, no professional judgment, but he has intensity. Older Marlowe has sensitive wisdom, distance, but less emotional immediacy. This duality can be linked to coming-of-age narratives, modernist skepticism, the limits of rational knowledge, language and style. Conrad's prose is dense but highly controlled, features worth teaching explicitly, long, cumulative sentences, rhythmic repetition, imagery tied to light, darkness, fire, and the sea. The sea functions symbolically as a testing ground, a neutral force, a space of revelation. Encourage students to see style as meaningful, not decorative. Teaching youth in the classroom. Lesson entry points. Narrative voice and reliability. Youth versus maturity. Memory and storytelling. Close reading activities. Compare early and late descriptions of hardship. Analyze Marlowe's evaluative language. Track shifts in tone. Discussion questions. Is the voyage a success or a failure? Does Marlowe glorify or critique youth? Can meaning exist without achievement? Comparative options. Heart of Darkness, Evolution of Marlowe. Coming-of-age texts. Modernist memoir or reflective essays. Youth lends itself well to analytical essays on narrative perspective, creative reinterpretations from another viewpoint, comparative studies on memory and experience. It also works beautifully as a bridge text between Victorian realism and modernism. Youth is a deceptively simple text that rewards careful teaching. It asks students and teachers to reflect on what we value in experience, how meaning is made, and why youth, even when mistaken, matters. As Conrad suggests, without youthful illusion, nothing truly begins.